First of all, I'm very happy to see this room filled. It's always the case when we come here. It's magic. It's very nice, and I'm glad that it is not snowing, so everybody has to consider the driving conditions. And it's not too beautiful that you're not choosing to be outside, but rather listen to our music. So I'm very happy about all of this. So we starting with a piece by Rachmaninoff. He composed it in his early 20s, 1894, and he left with his entire family after the Russian Revolution, the country, and came to the USA with his family, never returned to Russia, and resided actually most of his life in New York, and towards the end of his life he went to California. The gems, I call these 6 pieces in a suite. The first piece of barcarolle is kind of swaying, accompanying I have with Pablo on a lyrical melody, which I will be playing. And the second piece is a very virtuosic scherzo with a lot of wit. The third piece is a theme with connected variations. The fourth piece is a waltz, kind of in a Chopin traditional style. And then we have a romance, which is kind of like a nocturne in the late romantic style. Rachmaninoff for me is a lot of romantic music. Like, he didn't go for atonal or new adventures. He expanded in the territory of romantic music in his way. And then the last piece is liturgical chant, which it's this theme which goes through so many ways and builds into a tremendous thunderous climax at the end. I hope you enjoy that. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Pablo Lavandera, and I am the second half of the duo. I guess you already guessed from my accent why we called each other TransAtlantic Ensemble, right? Germany, Argentina, met in the States. So the Atlantic is in the middle. So anyway, the next piece I'm going to bring is a piece by a dear friend who actually wrote the piece for me. Her name is Claudia Montero. She's she was, unfortunately, she passed away at age 58 of breast cancer in 2021. But she's the only Argentinian composer to have won four Latin Grammy Awards. So she lived a short life, but very intense and very prolific in terms of composition. And the piece is called June, Junio in Spanish. And that month in Argentina is the prior to the winter. So it's when the leaves change colors. And she was from Buenos Aires, from the capital, and she had a really, she lived in exile, not exile, she moved to Spain for her career, but she always missed Argentina, and she's hugely influenced by the music of Astor Piazzolla and other composers that actually painted the landscape of the city in music. So June was also a special month for her because she had a twin sister. She lives still. Thank goodness she's with us, and their birthday was in June. So it's a month that had a lot of significance for Claudia. So this is the Southampton premiere of the work, and I hope that you enjoy it. Oh, one thing I wanted to say, she writes on the music like has to sound like an improvisation. All the notes are written, but you will flavor it from the very first note of the piece. That it's music that needs a lot of air, a lot of freedom. Okay? Enjoy Junio. Thank you.
So this is beautiful, mellow South American music here. And I'm gonna actually continue a couple of those miniature piano pieces I would like to introduce you to. Not sure if you ever heard of Claudio Santoro. He has lived until 1989, and I got the pleasure to meet actually his family in Berlin through a project with a Brazilian soprano, which we produced a whole album of 200 years Brazilian songs, which is really so nice. I wish I could bring it here one time. Maybe it will happen. She will be rehearsing in New York for an opera which will take place in Sao Paulo in the next year, so we'll see. Anyway, so I changed a tiny little bit of the pieces because I just felt like it honestly today. I don't know. We artists are very exotic birds, and all of a sudden we wake up and we feel like, no, I feel like this. So I chosen 2 preludes for piano, which are actually the songs that he combined basically the voice into the piano, top voice, and then put a nice accompaniment under. So it's basically, I'm kind of doing the whole thing in the piece. The song without the lyrics, but I will tell you the titles. And the titles spoke to me today, and I'll tell you in a second. So those are the 2 piano pieces first, the preludes. And the third one is one of the Paulistana. So Paulistana relates to Sao Paulo, and he actually wrote like 7 of these miniatures, and it's about women in Sao Paulo. Very sweet, and yeah, what you hear is the rhythm, clearly Brazilian Latin rhythm, even in slow pieces. It's a country of bossa nova, what can I say? And also harmonically, you go in a slight jazzy expression. All right, so now let's tell you the titles. Wow, where did this go? Oh my goodness. No, it's all here, don't worry. Here it is. So the first song is called Listening to Silence. So I want you to know that, because that's what I imagine when I play it. Listening to silence is something we all need in these busy days. And the second song is Somewhere Where One Can Live in Peace. And I think that's something we're living really, we're precious, gifted to live in this environment. We are allowed to live here, but obviously it takes me to a lot of souls on the globe, which has no choice and has exactly the wish to be somewhere where is peace, to live in peace. So the first one is listening to silence, and the second one, the wish to live in peace. The third piece is just a piano piece about Sao Paulo.
Okay, so continuing with the southern part of the Americas, another Argentinian piece, this time by Astor Piazzolla. Astor Piazzolla was the creator of what is called the new tango. He actually revolutionized the traditional tango, the ones that you used to see in the movies that you dance to something that had a lot of influences from jazz, from contemporary music, even experimental music as well. This is one of the selections from the Four Seasons of Buenos Aires, Las Cuatro Estaciones. And anybody here can raise the hand and tell me what other seasons are there that are famous? I know that Joanna down there knows. No? Vivaldi, yes. Did I hear that, or I just made that up? Okay. All right. So Antonio Vivaldi, right, wrote the Four Seasons as well. However, his seasons are opposites of our seasons because there are seasons in the northern hemisphere. On the side there's a Russian composer that did an entanglement of the both seasons, where our summer is the winter in the northern hemisphere, and he mixes up both tunes from opposite seasons. But coming back to winter in Buenos Aires, you will actually get to hear a lot of the pulse of the city. In a way, Buenos Aires is very French on the look, but also feels to me that the closest city that I can compare to Buenos Aires here is New York, so it has also that frenzy pulse, and I think that you can hear that depicted in the music. Astor Piazzolla composed it originally for one of his groups, the quintet, was a bandoneon, who he played himself, which is a kind of an accordion, but not quite, because it doesn't have keys like the piano. It's actually German, the bandoneon, so it's a little bit like a portable church organ by the way it sounds. And was also, what was in there? Violin, piano, electric guitar, and bass. That was the original ensemble for which Piazzolla composed the piece. So we thought we will bring some picture of the winter down there to the winter here. Enjoy. So now we invite you to cross the Atlantic again, and we are going to France. And our last piece of the program is Saint-Saëns Dance Macabre. And it's a very colorful piece because it's the devil's dance, right? And the tradition says that the devil at midnight on Halloween comes out, and after the 12 bells of midnight brings all the what's the word in English? The skeletons. Yes, I was going to say something much more gross than skeletons, but yeah, skeletons. Thank you. So they are all dancing, and you actually hear on the secondo, which is the pianist that plays on the left, right? Primo is the pianist on the right. Secondo in Italian, the pianist on the left. You'll hear me playing those 12 bells, and then that sequence gets interrupted by a loud and dissonant chord on the primo part, played by Evelyn, and that interval is the tritone. Yes, it's the most dissonant, right? In the Middle Ages, in the times of church music and Gregorian chant, that interval was the devil in music, because it had that sound that was not like as nice as the perfect fifth or the third. So now let's hear that's the fourth. Right, yes, and now the tritone again, yes. See, it's very, very, so the devil is in there, hopefully stays only in the music, right? So the dance is very frantic, and this piece was actually transcribed by Saint-Saëns colleagues. Franz Liszt is probably one of the most famous transcriptions, but Saint-Saëns himself transcribed it also for piano and violin, and also he did a tone poem version where there's a solo part given to the violin, which is supposed to be that the devil plays the violin. So enjoy Saint-Saëns Dance Macabre.